What's up, guys? This is 247. I'm Ann.
And I'm Anna. So today we're going to be talking about boundaries, just the boundaries we've set with each other to just make co parenting a lot more chill between us over
Yeah.
the years. But I think first, I really want to talk about like just what our week was like. What was your week like, Anne, this week?
This week's actually been really chill, other than Zoe's basketball game, but everything's
Why do you
been
have to talk about that? Why you got to bring that up all up in this conversation? You can throw me under the bus like
well,
that.
because I know people that were there are listening to our podcast, so they can join in our laughter.
Well, all right. So Zoe's basketball game this week was wild. We played a team. It's okay. It's through the school. We played a team that we had already played them before. The team is pretty. I don't know if they
Aggressive.
have they have like a rivalry at this point.
Yeah,
I
they're
know.
rivalry schools for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know that one of the girls on the team. Well, one of the girls on the team had released a TikTok. I don't know if you know
I
that.
don't.
So she had released a TikTok where she was fouling one of the girls on our team. I don't want to say names, obviously.
Obviously.
And she released the TikTok and she's fouling one of our girls on our team. And she just on in the TikTok, it's like if you need a foul, call 1-800 something something. So the girl on our team was already kind of
Salty.
salty
Yeah.
and kind of already had emotions built up and everything. So the game started out a little rough because of that.
Right.
And so of course, like, the game was going, girls were starting to get really, rowdy kind of.
Well, and to be fair, the refs were not calling anything. So these girls are out there slapping each other.
Jungle Ball.
Jungle balls. Crazy, just like hits. Nobody's calling jump balls. Nobody's saying, holding or whatever it was. I mean, these girls are slapping,
She said holding. That's
shoving.
football, and
You can hold people in basketball.
oh, maybe.
What if you're like shooting and then the guy goes like this and they hold your arm and you can't
It's just
shoot?
a foul.
I know, but it's because of holding. It is because of holding. But
Whatever.
I'm gonna hold you, bro. But so they weren't calling like any of the fouls.
No.
And then on top of it, one of the other girls started fouling our daughter.
Oh yeah, it got really bad, and like our
So
daughter.
what did you do when they started fouling our daughter?
I mean, it was getting pretty rowdy.
It was
out
really
there.
bad.
It was
It
bad.
was bad.
So I stood up, of course, and which I'm surprised one of the refs didn't call a technical foul against me, because they could have at that point.
Well, they did earlier on a dad who was yelling and kicked him out.
But they didn't call they didn't call a technical foul. They
No.
just kicked him out.
They just kicked him out.
And so they kicked him out. He got super rowdy with the ref. I mean, he got offensive towards the ref.
Oh yeah, he told the ref to meet him outside.
Yeah, he called him a bald-headed mother. Beep.
Beep.
Yeah, and so he got kicked out, which was the dad of the girl
who was aggressive on the team.
Super aggressive, yeah.
Yes.
And so then I stood up, and my intention was to just say, hey, like, tell the refs, you guys need to start calling things out, because these girls are going to get in a fight.
Yeah.
So
it was getting excessive to the point of the girls were getting so mad at each other that they were starting to just not play basketball anymore. They were just starting to like almost brawl on the floor.
Mm-hmm. So I stood up. I just had no self-restraint. Stood up, put my arms up, and tried to call a timeout.
Tried calling a timeout from the stands.
Yeah, and I tried to call a timeout. Like, I mean, I coach basketball, so that was just like my reaction to go out there and like, timeout. And the ref looked at me like,
sit down.
Sit your ass down. Like, what are you doing over here? And then what happened? Eventually, it just broke out. I mean, it was almost a fight.
The aggressive girl went up to one of the other teammates on our team and like just full blown checked her. She fell on the ground. I mean, it was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So at that point, she got ejected from the game because she tried fighting our player. Well, our player walked up to her first, but she walked up to her after she got pushed down, and then the other girl started going crazy, but she like wouldn't stop. Like, our girl went and sat down and like calmed down.
Yeah.
Like, she was just like cussing, like trying to go at her again. Like her whole entire team had to like hold her back.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy game, and we were just like, "Whoa." Like it just escalated really quickly. These girls sports teams can be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. And you know what? Like our daughters have played other sports and but I've never seen it to this extreme. Even with comp sports, it's always
No.
been very like very controlled.
Really, this is the only team that has ever been this aggressive.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So it's just girls are feisty, you know.
Yes.
So, but that was the highlight of our week this week,
Yeah.
and other than like running around like we're crazy with sports and everything else. But yeah, that was probably the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
My gosh, crazy.
Couple other things. Cadence got her braces off this week.
Yeah,
We
she
just went
did.
and got retainers for her.
Yeah.
What else is going on at your house? Because you have the kids this week.
Oh, I'm just so excited. I got a letter from my power company that they're going to shut my light off, our power off for 6 hours on Saturday. Like on Saturday, you can't
And
even
it's
do it
like
during
mid
the
and it's
day.
like midday
I know.
on Saturday. Like, can you do it while I'm asleep?
Or at least do it during the week when my kids are at school. You're gonna
Yeah.
do it on a Saturday? Like, what am I supposed to do with all these kids all day?
Well, you sent me a text and said I'm coming over Saturday.
Yeah,
So
so
that's what you're gonna do.
I'm like, man, yeah. So other than that, I don't think. I mean, other than all of our sports we had all week, it
Yeah,
was
we've just been
just
busy every day, sports or games, and we still have um another game tomorrow.
we're supposed to have one tonight, but Zoe's sick. Not, you know,
Not
not.
feeling too well,
Yeah.
so
So
she's gonna stay home.
yeah. So
But
yeah. Other than that, we was just chaos of having kids. You
yeah,
know.
for sure.
So yeah, back to boundaries. Uh, we just kind of wanted to start a little bit out with talking about like the enforcer in each home, like who enforces what, but I think the first thing we should talk about is just like what we set as rules together.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
what our house rules are
Yeah. Yeah.
for all children.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our main rule would be probably just the boyfriend situation we're all on the same page with.
Yeah,
Having
16.
5 daughters, you kind of have to set restrictions with boys. So 16 is when they're allowed to start dating boys and
Yeah.
doing that route and stuff. And that we've held to really well
Yeah.
as
We've
the
we've
four of us.
yeah, we've done like group dates where we allow them to go out with boys.
Friends, and as
Yeah,
long as it's more than just
yeah, like a
yeah.
group date scenario, or the boys they have guy friends that come over before
Yeah.
they were 16, but it was always very controlled and like parents had to be involved.
Right.
Like just recently
In
Naomi
public or
had
something,
her
yeah.
first little outing with
Yep.
this boy, um and that was fun, and her parent we met his parents, and she went to dinner with him and his family, and I mean just trying to keep it like cordial and trying to get.
Keep it light. Just
Yeah.
keep it very light and very innocent at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just making sure that, these boys are coming from good parents and they have the same boundaries that we have,
right.
basically. Um, but yeah, we've stuck to the boyfriend thing. What else has it been?
We usually just have curfew, you know, and we usually just like to know people's parents before really letting them go either have sleepovers or hang out at their house or anything along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to the parents, as long as one of us has talked to them or knows them, we're
Mm-hmm.
okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just trusting whichever of the parents it is, one of the four, to
Right.
just make that like decision to say, hey, yeah, like I talked to the parents. They seem to be on board. Everything seems chill. We trust each other to make that right call,
Yeah.
There's no like second guessing or anything. We just go with it and trust that everything's in line.
Grades is a
Grades.
rule.
Yeah.
We really don't like anything C's or less. We kind of, will ground them, take their phones away, make sure they get back on the right track by the end of quarter so that they really only have A's and B's.
Yeah.
We're pretty strict with grades. I
Yeah.
remember at the parent teacher conference when I went with Zoe, the teacher was like, "Oh, she has a C or a C minus or something, but she's passing, so it's fine. Like, she made the big, like, it wasn't a big deal that she had, like, a low C.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I mean, in your eyes, that's okay, but, like, what can she do to be better?
Right.
Like, she's in sports, she's got a lot of stuff going on, so we just need to make sure we're on top of, like, missing assignments or
Right. And it's one
anything along those lines.
right. And it's one thing when a kid is
Yeah,
struggling, and it's another thing when they're being lazy.
lazy.
Uh-huh. Because I think like if they're struggling, it's understandable, to have a C or have like, whatever. But like if for us, this is our personal
Our
opinion,
correct.
if it's because they are turning in assignments, that's when it becomes kind of an issue for us personally, where
Correct.
I just see it as being lazy. Like you're not turning things in just because you're choosing not to, not because
Right.
you're incapable,
Right. Exactly.
incapable, not incapable,
Like,
incapable.
you're smart, you're just making dumb choices at this
Mm-hmm.
point.
Yeah, so there's just repercussions for not keeping up with your grades. I think because school is number one to us.
Super important on our
Yeah,
end.
yeah. So we just all stick to the same page on that. And when it comes to school, um, yeah. So basically, that's it with
With our rules, we don't have like a ton of rules other than those. Like, we
yeah,
have small rules like make sure your room's clean, but that's just normal household rules.
yeah,
Those are like our main core family rules that the four of us keep together.
yeah. That
There are a few rules that she has a little different at her house. I think like Katarina's curfew was like 10:30 at your house and it was 10 on ours on weeknights.
mhm.
So there's just like some small, like, little differences, but nothing that like would matter.
No,
Yeah.
no, not yeah.
Everything else
Nothing.
we agree upon. And we decided this like way early on when Soraya was starting to even like boys.
Yeah,
So this started very early on with the rules,
yeah,
and we've just stuck through. We've made adjustments because you grow as parents and you learn from being a first time parent with a teenager and stuff. So we have adjusted stuff,
yeah.
but for the most part, those are like the main
And I think yeah, like even with phones, like we do phones at what 12?
12. But I also think that because I have like with Cadence, um, I don't know if I necessarily want her to have a phone at 12. She doesn't
Right.
switch houses. She doesn't do that kind of stuff. So like I feel like we started a little earlier than we all would have wanted, but it was because they were switching houses.
Right, communication. And at that time,
Communication,
if you think about it, 8 years ago
right?
or whatever with
It would have been
Soraya,
six,
seven
7 years ago.
7 years
Yeah,
ago, Soraya was it. Our relationship was still. I mean, it was cordial, but it was
it's
still
also
not as
easier to call your kid instead of being like, "Hey
yeah,
Anna, can I talk to
yeah,
Soraya?" You
uh-huh,
know,
yeah.
or whatever it is.
I think, and that's why 12 was our
Yeah,
thing.
for sure. Well, and
Um,
I think at that point they start staying after school for sports
uh-huh.
and stuff like that. So I think the cell phone also came in handy for that.
Yeah, I did. And I think like as a parent, you kind of learn as you go because with her, I can honestly say I was extremely trusting with her and I just like, no, my kid's never going to do that. My kid's going to be perfect. She's great. Like she's so innocent. Like I just felt that way. I
Yeah,
had so much trust in her. And now as my other kids have like grown up, I'm like, no, I don't trust any of them. Like I don't necessarily give them the benefit of the doubt like I used to with
yeah,
her.
for sure.
And so, yeah, it just changes, I guess, as you
And it
go.
I feel like it changes with every kid too because every kid is different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Like, we did learn with, like, Katerina, like, we don't really have to, like, be on her with her grades and stuff like that, but our other kids were noticing we need to stay
yeah, we kind of
on
dropped the
top of it.
ball a
Yeah,
little bit with Zoe and Naomi because we're not as like on top of it like we were
yeah.
with Soraya and Katerina. So that's been kind of
We
hard.
just rediscussed that yesterday with
Yeah.
grades and trying to make sure they're back on track, so,
Yeah, you just kind of fall out of it, and then you kind of like
yeah,
think, man, I got to get back on track with that,
yeah.
because you just get so caught up in just the rest of your day or the rest of whatever is going on, that
Well,
you lose
and yeah.
track,
Yeah, definitely.
you
There's
know?
so much stuff going on because we have so much more little kids now
Yeah,
that
it's
it's
true.
just, like,
Yeah.
a lot.
But I mean, like, honestly, though, like, back to the whole co-parenting thing, I think the coolest thing about this whole situation, it's like, I don't know that I could keep up with so many different things. Like, if it were just me raising
Right.
all 6 kids, like, I honestly don't think I could physically keep up with it. I would be so exhausted trying
Yeah.
to keep up with, like, appointments, grades, parent teacher conferences, like essentially like when we were first co-parenting together, I was very like, nope, I'm the mom.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. I went to all the field trips,
Right.
you know. I would tell the girls like, no, I'm coming. And it was more like I necessarily, not that I didn't, no, like I
You
just,
wanted to just be the one doing it.
yeah,
That's
like
fine.
I was like, no, I need her, like I need to be the mom,
Yeah.
it's me. I'm the mom. And then I took
So you
on,
took on parent-teacher conferences, doctor's appointments, like you said, field trips. Like that
yeah.
was at the beginning with our boundaries, which is
Mhm.
kind of like the where we started with boundaries was way more strict with
Yeah.
each other. So like I didn't do any of that. The only time I really stepped in was like if someone really couldn't. Like
Yeah.
if Anna or Luce couldn't, then I would be next up basically.
Yeah.
Dylan had a full-time job, so during the day I would just have to step in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you did most of it because also loose works, but, I would only do it if someone needed something.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I just eventually I think I had Hunter, um, and then at that point I was like, "Oh my gosh,
It's a lot.
it's a lot,"
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and you started to, like me, and we became, like,
Yeah.
closer and closer, so you weren't threatened
No.
or worried or
Mm-mm.
jealous or whatever it may
No,
have
and
been
it
back
was,
then.
like, it really
Yeah.
was, because I think at first, like, as a mom, you kind of take that as, like, it's like a jealous thing, it's also, like, a threatened thing where you feel threatened or you feel like someone's gonna step on your toes, and you just don't wanna feel replaced, and so
Right.
you kind of overexert your position as a mom, and you wanna make sure, like, assert dominance sort of in a weird way. So you overexert yourself and you attend everything because you want to be a part of it, you know? But then then eventually you learn that
It's kinda nice
it's
having
kind
help.
of nice having help. Yeah, and it's fine and it's nice to like have someone be your partner in it, you know? And you don't have to attend all these things by yourself. And then like our parent teacher conferences at this point, do you remember when we
Oh
were
my
barely
gosh.
starting to do them
I'm
together?
just gonna tell you how embarrassing Anna makes things for me sometimes.
They're kind of a little awkward, but
So we
they're
like
funny.
walk into parent teacher conferences and we both go to the kids' so it's two moms walking in. And like the first thing she says is like, "Don't worry, we're not lesbians." Or she'll say like, "Oh, just in case you were wondering, we're not lesbians." And I'm just like, well, I'm not sure they thought that, but thanks for making it awkward now.
And yeah, I mean, but we've had some reactions from it. I mean, some of the teachers were
One of Soraya's teachers literally said, "Well, I wasn't sure, so glad you clarified."
yeah, we always made it a little
Yeah.
awkward. I mean, at this point the
They
teachers
all
know us.
know. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
all know
know
now.
that we're not, but like I always had to clarify, because
I
I mean,
honestly feel
no
like you
offense.
just I don't even think you needed to clarify. I just think you enjoy being funny.
Yeah,
Like
I
it was just
do.
funny.
Yeah.
It made it like lighthearted and it was
Yeah.
nice.
I had to lighten the mood.
Yeah.
I always say really awkward things in
Serious moments.
serious moments, but I make things awkward in serious moments, or I try to lighten the mood. If I feel awkward, I'll say something out of just try to lighten the mood, but it makes things more awkward. Yeah.
Sometimes.
So, yeah, that was just like something I always did. But now at this point, I don't have to do that anymore. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
now we just kind of take turns. If it's my week, I'll take him to doctor's appointments. If it's her week, she'll do it. If
yeah,
she's busy and I need to go pick one of them up, I'll do it. It's just and she helps out even like if I have work or something, she'll pick up cadence or
yeah,
just whatever it is. So we just tag team everything at this point. I feel
yeah,
like we went from lots of boundaries or, a handful of boundaries to literally zero at
yeah,
this
we
point.
did. We
We
did.
just do what needs to be done, whether it's you or me, we will figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And then there's been times where like Anne will say, "Well, I don't really know if I can take him to." I'm like, "Anne, we have such like referring back to our first podcast, and we have very similar names. Like, just say you're me."
I do it a lot.
Yeah, I'm
I'm like,
like,
"Yeah, Anna Salazar."
"Yeah, yeah, just say you're me." And I mean, it
Well, I guess I
works.
say Acosta sometimes, depending
Yeah.
on where I'm at.
No, but I'm like, "Just say you're me. It's fine." Like,
They
just
also realistically don't question me because I have the same last name.
right as the girls.
So they
Yeah.
really don't say anything anymore.
No. No, and so and, like, at this point, I'm just like, "Whatever," like, she relays the information really well, I relay the information really well, unless there's like some type of thing where we have to show like actual
Yeah.
documentation.
I think for permits or something, you had to go, or
Yeah, I
her
think
license,
so.
something like that. It was one of that, like you or Luce
Yeah,
had to go and
yeah,
show like birth certificates or whatever it was,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
had to prove your ID. I think it was with Soraya.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't really need to. I trust that, like, she has the kids' best interest at heart, and so I just like, I'm just there for the show, At this point, I'm there for the ride. So I'm like, whatever. Like with Dylan too, when it comes down to him making the decisions as well, like if it came down to it and he had to be involved in that, like
right,
we trust that
yeah,
he's 100% involved and that he will make the right choices for the kids.
right.
Same with obviously Luce, like he's
Well, yeah,
biological dad, but yeah, like we've all just given each other basically free reins of things, but it wasn't always like that.
we've earned it.
Yeah.
Everyone's earned it.
Yeah.
Everyone's stepped up as parents. Everyone's done their job. Everyone's followed through.
Mhm.
Everyone's been there when we needed them. So we just have earned trust over the last 12 years that
Yeah.
at this point, I don't know if it could be broken.
No, no, and
Like,
I think, like, all this kind of it reminds me of, like, back in the day when I was, like I was really salty, like, with the whole, I think Naomi was in preschool. Naomi was in preschool, and she used to go, and they had to do, like, a whole picture of your family, and I kept forgetting to make her a dang poster, like, of her and her family, but I also in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Well, I don't know, do I cut out a picture of her dad and then a picture of me?" And then, like, I mean, it was kinda awkward, you
yeah.
know?
And this was like really early on. So
Yeah.
preschool was like the first year, which was when we were like not talking like basically at all, except for
No.
just communication with the kids.
Yeah, yeah, it was really awkward because I think at that point, Naomi it was, like, the first year,
It was, yeah, it
right?
would have been the first
Yeah.
year because Naomi went to preschool.
Right
Yeah,
away.
right away.
That after that summer, we all moved in
Yeah.
and met and everything, yeah.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I remember walking into preschool and I see, like, a picture of her family, and, I finally had taken like but I ended up doing, like, a poster, but I think I just did, like, of her sisters, like, I didn't include
Yeah.
anybody, it was just her sisters, and then I walk in and and then I tell the teacher, I'm like, "Hey, whatever, whatever, like, I here's a picture of, like here's a poster of her family," and the teacher was like, "Oh, she already brought one in," and I was like, "Oh, she did?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's right here," and it was, like, on a piece of furniture or something, like a bookshelf or something, and I was like, "Oh, alright. I see." Like, I was
Well,
so
from
salty.
my point of view, she came to my house and was like, "I have to do this. It's due today. It's due
Yeah,
today."
yeah.
And we weren't talking, so the only one I had was a picture of like us and the girls and Luce. So it was just us six. So we just sent her with that to school.
It's just funny. And then I remember calling my best friend's breaking out like, "This biatch, she totally"
Beep.
she said it was just, like, funny, but, like, that's the beginning of
Yeah. That's
co-parenting.
real. That's real
Yeah,
life. That
like,
really happened.
it happens,
Yeah.
and, like, in the beginning like, now, obviously, it's, like, funny,
Yeah.
but, like, in the beginning, you're, like, so salty, and you're so angry, and you're just like, "Why is that?" That's a boundary
Right.
where you just, like in your mind, it was, like, super innocent, and you don't think of it, and in my mind,
Well, I
I'm
had
like
no time to think about it. She's like,
right.
"It's due today or
Yeah.
tomorrow." And I'm just like, this is what I have. Here
Yeah.
you go."
Yeah, and in, like, another's perspective, like, you completely overthink it, and you think it's malicious, but then when these stories come up, you get clarity on the situation, and you realize it was never
No,
malicious like that.
not at
It
all.
was just that's what happened.
Yeah.
It was just, like, whatever, you
What
know
am
what
I
I
gonna
mean?
do? I can't
Yeah.
go, I mean, and we weren't like talking, so I couldn't call you and be like, "Hey, can you bring one of yours
Yeah.
when you pick her up so she can
Can I
have
just,
both?"
like can you screenshot a picture of yourself, and
Yeah.
I'll just stick you on the
Just stick
side?
you on the side, you and Dylan, just like right on the side.
No, but it's just like it's the reality,
Yeah.
but I think when you co-parent, tend we tend to overthink things and just not really think about
Well, and I do think that when people sit there and overthink versus just confront it with the other person, which I feel
Mhm.
like today we've gotten super good at,
Yeah.
that people will sit and like fester about what's bothering them or what's bothering the other person, when really like now these days if something's bothering either one of us, we just
Yeah.
call and talk it out really quick and we're over it. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We move on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this bothered me or whatnot, and we just,
And
all right, cool.
respect too.
I won't do it again, or oh crap, I didn't realize, or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and just have respect for each other, because I think that's important too. That's part of being, you know, setting boundaries with each other. And I know, like, there's always going to be things that, like, one person does that bothers you or whatever. And that's just normal. Like, you do that with your spouse, with your
Everyone gets on your
kids.
nerves. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, ultimately just talking it out and just reasserting those boundaries and just saying, like, hey, like,
Friendly
whatever.
reminder.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But it's important, I think,
I
overall,
agree.
you know.
And one other thing I think that we've done really well is like when someone's in trouble or one of the kids gets, punished or whatnot, we always like have each other's backs.
Yeah.
We always respect the other parent's decision, whether we really agree with it or not, because in that instance, we have to show that all four parents are on the same page, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at that point because Anna grounded them, so now she's grounded.
You're right.
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter anything.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and we respect that. So,
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think, like, one thing that has been difficult is, like, for instance, for me, when the girls will come home and they would tell me, "Well, my dad, blah 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 blah," I would just tell them, "Well, your dad's coming from a place of love, and although I don't agree, or I do agree, or maybe, like, I would have maybe done things differently, like,
yeah.
your dad loves you, and, like, he probably didn't mean it that way. He just
Right.
was angry with you or whatever. And the same thing, like, well, what did you do to make your dad feel that way, or
Right.
get to and the same thing happens with me, like, if I'm because let's be real, like, we all sometimes lose our shit on our kids.
All the time.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so, like, I've heard it from the kids, or from Luce too, where he'll tell the kids, or you'll tell the kids, like, your mom was probably having a bad day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, cut her some slack. Like, it's
Well, I
fine.
mean, you have to ask the kids those questions. Were you lying? Were you talking back? Were you being disrespectful? Like, all those things come to play when a parent, has to get mad and has to put their foot down. Like, you
Yeah.
have to as a parent, otherwise they're just gonna run all over you.
Well, and they'll play both sides.
They play both houses all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked because we can talk to each other.
We know.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
do, and we're like, "Well, wait, that didn't happen. Like, that's crap, because that's not
Yeah.
how it went
It
down."
went down slightly different
Yeah, that's not the
or
truth.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they tend to do that a lot, is just play both sides and
yeah.
tell us stories that are not really what happened, and then
I mean, there's always a small truth to all of their stories. They don't just come back and forth lying, but they
mhm.
definitely exaggerate.
Yeah, they do.
So,
But we always come back to it, and we're always like, whatever. They're kids. You get
and
over it."
like we talk probably every day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we know what's going on at both houses and we know what's what at this point.
Yeah, they
There's
can't
no
play
second
us.
guessing it.
They can't play us because it ain't gonna happen.
So be friends, guys.
Yeah. At least be cordial, right? At least talk to each other.
Yeah.
So you can't be like best friend. You don't have to be best friends, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think that's basically what we got. What
For
we have for
boundaries.
boundaries. Yeah.
We are also like totally taking questions. So if you
Mhm.
guys have questions on boundaries or anything, like feel free to email us, Instagram us, send us messages wherever, follow us on TikTok, anything like that. Um, we also just wanted to like remind people that co-parenting can be fun, can be easy. It doesn't need to be a difficult situation.
Right.
Just put your feelings aside and realize you guys just need to do it for whatever's best for the kids.
Right. Make it fun. Co-parenting can be fun, and, like, take time. It can be so fun that you can, you know, kind of let go a little bit, and maybe create some type of friendship where you guys, it's a tribe. It's not like, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be overbearing. It could be, just fun. And
Easy,
yeah.
lighthearted.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be so separated.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So, well, thanks for listening. This was 247.
2 moms, 4 shared, and 7 total.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.